Now we will read preamble of the Constitution of India. So the question is, what is preamble? So preamble is just like the introduction or preface of the Constitution. So it is like the introduction to the Constitution, or you can say it is a preface of the Constitution, or in other words, you can say that it is the summary of the Indian Constitution. So if you want to know the summary of the Indian Constitution, then if you read the preamble, you will get the summary of the Indian Constitution. So you can say that it is the summary of Indian Constitution. Or you can say preamble contains the philosophy of the Constitution of India. Constitutional expert N.A. Palkiwala has termed preamble as the identity card of Indian Constitution. Identity card of the Constitution. Or if you elaborate, then you can say what are the goals of Indian Constitution? What are the objectives of Indian Constitution that the Indian Constitution wants to achieve? What is the nature of Indian Constitution? All you can know if you read the preamble. That means the goals, the objectives, the nature of Indian Constitution are mentioned in the preamble. In Berewari Union case 1960, Supreme Court said that preamble is the key to open the mind of the constitution makers. That means what was going on in the minds of the constitution makers, that you can get if you read the preamble. That means preamble is the key to unlock the mind of the constitution makers. That means what the constitution makers was thinking while framing the constitution, that is reflected in preamble. Now if you read the text of the preamble to the Indian Constitution, then you'll understand that it reveals four things. It reveals what is the source of authority of Indian Constitution. So what is the source of authority of Indian Constitution? The source is the people of India. That means it is the people of India who is writing this constitution, and it is the people of India who is giving themselves this constitution. So what is the source of authority of the Indian Constitution? It is the people of India that is mentioned in the preamble. Then from preamble we can get the nature of the Indian state. What is the nature? What we are. What is the nature of Indian state? What is the nature of the Indian Constitution? We can get from preamble, from the text of preamble. And what is the nature? India is sovereign, India is socialist, India is secular, democratic and republic. Then the preamble also reveals the objective of Indian Constitution. That means what the Indian Constitution wants to achieve. Nature is what we are. What is the nature of Indian state means what is Indian state, what we are. And what is objective of Indian Constitution means that what we want to achieve through this constitution. And what do we want to achieve? We want justice, we want equality, we want liberty, we want fraternity. And we also get another information from the preamble, that is what is the date of adoption of Indian Constitution. And what is the date of adoption of Indian Constitution? It is mentioned in the preamble, and it is written that it is 26th November 1949 as the date of adoption of Indian Constitution. Now we will read the nature and objective of Indian Constitution. That is, we will individually read the term sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. Let's start with the nature of Indian state, and let's start with sovereign. So what is the meaning when we say that India is sovereign? That means that India can make any decision with respect to itself without any interference by any other country. That means, for example, tomorrow, if India wants to implement one nation, one election, then India can take the decision without taking the permission of other country. Let's say India do not have to take permission from USA or UK because India is sovereign. India can take any decision with respect to itself without interference by any other country. The decision can be internal, can be external, but India can take its own decision without interference by any other country. Or let's take that India has already implemented GST. Now tomorrow, if India think that now we do not want GST, so India can cancel GST any moment without asking any other country. That means it can take any decision, it can unmake any decision that it has already taken. So it is totally India's own affair. So what India wants to do internally or externally, it is totally up to India. No other nation, no other external force can interfere in the matters of India. So this is the meaning when we say India is sovereign. Now, another nature is we are socialist. Let me tell you, this term was not originally there in the original constitution. It was added in the Indian constitution through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. And our brand of socialism, we can term it as democratic socialism. That means in India, what we follow is mixed economy where public and private both sector coexist. And when I say that India follow democratic socialism, then it means that India wants to end the poverty. India wants to end the inequality of opportunity. Although we can say after 1991, when LPG reform was taken, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization, from then onwards we can say that this provision, this socialistic pattern has somewhat been diluted, we can say. Let's now read secular. This word was also not present in the original constitution. It was added in the preamble through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Now, what is the meaning when I say Indian state is a secular state? The meaning is that Indian state does not uphold any religion as the state religion. That means India has no state religion. And in India, we protect all the religions equally. That means what we follow in India is the positive concept of secularism. Positive form of secularism means we respect all the religions in our country and we say that all the religions have the same status, have the same support from the state. Now, democratic. In a democracy, people is everything. Supreme power rests with people. So it is the people who is everything in a democracy. All the power is vested with the people. And Indian constitution ensure that the government will be created, government will be formed at the will of the people. If people wants, then this government will be formed. If people do not want, they will remove this government because there is periodic election that is happening in this country. So India is democratic, where people is everything. All the supreme power is with people. They can form the government at their will through election. They can also remove the government in power and place any other party's government through election. That is, India is democratic. That means democracy denotes the people's power in the polity, and it denotes that all the citizens have the equal participation in the polity. We can divide democracy in two types: direct democracy, that is seen in Switzerland, or indirect democracy, that is seen in India. Indirect democracy, we can say it as representative democracy, because in indirect democracy or representative democracy that is seen in India is like Indian people elect some representative, and those representative on behalf of the people of India make the law for people of India. That is, India follow indirect democracy. Now, indirect democracy is of two types. One is presidential, that is followed in USA, and another one is parliamentary form of democracy, that is followed in India or UK, you can say. So, parliamentary form of democracy where executive is responsible to the legislature. Now we will read republic. Any democratic polity can be divided into two. One is monarchy and another one is republic. Monarchy means the head of the state enjoys a hereditary position, and republic means the head of the state is elected. For example, India, the head of the state, that is President of India, is elected, and he is elected indirectly, and he has a term of 5 years. But in Britain, the head of the state enjoys a hereditary position. And there is also another meaning of republic, is that every public office in the country is open to every citizen without any discrimination. That means there will be no discrimination in occupation of a public office by any citizen. Now we will read objective of the preamble of Constitution, starting with justice. There are three types of justice mentioned in our preamble. One is social justice, another one is economic justice, and another one is political justice. Social justice means we equally treat all the citizens without any discrimination based on caste, religion, sex, color. We do not do discrimination on the basis of these things. We want to remove the social imbalance that is present by law, by making law. Economic justice means we also do not do discrimination between people on the basis of economic factors. We believe in economic justice. The idea of economic justice is to make equality of status, to make the life meaningful, a meaningful life, and we want a life that is worth living. That is the economic justice mentioned in the preamble. And in our country, there is also political justice. That means all the citizens have equal political rights, and we follow universal adult suffrage. That means all the people in India who has 18 and above year age, they can cast their vote. That means we do not do discrimination in the political sphere on the basis of caste, religion, sex. We do not do that kind of discrimination. We treat all the citizens equally in the political sphere. That is the political justice. And the ideal of justice, that is the social, economic and political justice, has been taken from the Russian Revolution. Then the other objectives that are mentioned in the preamble is liberty. And liberty is in the form of thought. You have liberty of thought, you have liberty of expression, belief, faith and worship. Then another objective is equality. That is the banishment of inequality, the removal of inequality. Then another objective is fraternity. Fraternity means the sense of brotherhood. That means it is a feeling that we all are the children of the same soil. That means we all have same motherland. So we are all the children of the same motherland, that is India. That is the fraternity. Now you tell me whether this fraternity is possible without giving dignity to an individual. So the answer is no. So to fraternity to achieve, what is important is that providing dignity to an individual. So if you want fraternity to be achieved in India, what is important is that dignity. So a fraternity cannot be installed unless the dignity of each of the member is maintained. So to achieve fraternity, dignity is important. Now we will see whether preamble is part of Indian Constitution or not. In Berubari Union case, Supreme Court said that preamble is not the part of Indian Constitution. But later, in 1973, in Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala, Supreme Court reversed its earlier decision and said that preamble is part of the Indian Constitution. Later, in LIC of India case also, Supreme Court said that preamble is an integral part of Constitution. So now the position is preamble is part of Indian Constitution. Now let's see some important points regarding the preamble. Now, American Constitution was the first constitution to start with the preamble. So US Constitution was the first constitution to begin with the preamble. Now, one thing that you need to know regarding preamble in India is that suppose in Constitution of India any power is not given, then that power cannot be given to you by preamble. That means preamble can't provide any power that is not mentioned in the Constitution. That means preamble is not the source of power. And let's take another situation where suppose any power which is not prohibited by Indian Constitution, then preamble cannot prohibit that power. That means preamble cannot give you any power, preamble cannot snatch from you any power. That means preamble is neither the source of power nor a prohibition upon the power. And another thing regarding preamble which is important is that preamble is non-justiciable. That means you cannot move to the court and say that, dear court, please enforce the preamble. You cannot do so because preamble is non-justiciable. That means its provisions are not enforceable in the court of law. You cannot simply go to the court and ask the court to instruct the government to implement the preamble. That means preamble itself is non-justiciable. Then you might think, then what is the importance of having the preamble? Preamble is not the source of any power. Preamble is not the prohibition to any power. It is also non-justiciable. Then what is the importance of preamble? So the importance of preamble is that preamble helps in legal interpretation of Constitution. When the language is found to be ambiguous. That means if any provisions of the Constitution are found to be ambiguous, the language is found to be ambiguous, then the Supreme Court can look into the language of preamble and then can interpret accordingly. I will give you one example, it will be clear to you. In the famous K.S. Puttaswamy case, that is the right to privacy case, Supreme Court was asked whether right to privacy was part of Article 21 or not. Supreme Court look at the preamble and it says that there is one word written in the preamble, that is dignity. Now you tell me whether if you want to provide dignity to the individual of the country, then you have to provide them with privacy, with right to privacy, because privacy is extremely important in order to provide the dignity to the individual. So, as dignity is one of the objective of Indian Constitution mentioned in the preamble, hence Supreme Court said that yes, right to privacy is part of Article 21. That means preamble helps in legal interpretation of the provisions of the Constitution where the language of the provisions of the Constitution is found to be ambiguous. So it helps in legal interpretation. That is the importance of preamble. Now the question is whether preamble can be amended or not. So the answer is yes, preamble can be amended, and it has already been amended through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, through which 3 words has been added in the Constitution, in the preamble of the Constitution, that is socialist, secular and integrity. So the present position is yes, preamble can be amended, but the basic structure, the provisions which are part of basic structure of the Indian Constitution, those parts of the preamble cannot be amended. So except the basic structure, preamble can be amended.